Welcome back to the Future Strong podcast. We're always talking about ways to unlock our potential, but sometimes it feels like we're trying to squeeze more and more into less and less time.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of us are feeling that pressure to be constantly on and productive, and that can really take a toll.
Exactly. So today we're going to dig into this idea of relaxed alertness. It sounds kind of like a contradiction, but the idea is that our brains actually work better when we can find that sweet spot between being calm and focused.
Right. It's not about being lazy or checked out. It's about being present and engaged, but in a relaxed way.
So it's kind of like those athletes who talk about being in the flow state, where they're performing at their best, but it feels effortless.
Exactly. Flow state is a great example of relaxed alertness because it's that feeling of being completely absorbed in what you're doing, but without feeling stressed or overwhelmed.
Okay, I can see how that would be ideal.
Yeah.
But how do we actually get there? Especially when we're juggling a million things and feeling the pressure to constantly perform.
Well, one key is giving our brains some time to just process and make connections.
So you're talking about taking breaks and just sitting around and thinking.
Not necessarily. It's more about finding ways to let your mind wander a bit without forcing it. Like how sometimes you wake up with the solution to a problem that's been bugging you.
Oh yeah, I've totally had that happen. It's like my brain was working on it in the background while I was sleeping.
Right, and there are things you can do to encourage that kind of background processing, like taking a walk in nature or listening to music or even just doing some mindless chores.
Interesting. So it's not just about taking breaks, but also about the quality of those breaks.
Exactly. It's about giving your brain a chance to shift gears and relax so it can come back to whatever you're working on with fresh eyes.
Okay, that makes sense. And I guess it also ties into the emotional side of things, because if we're feeling stressed and anxious, that's going to make it harder to relax and focus.
Absolutely. It's like trying to run a complex program on a computer that's full of viruses and pop-ups. It's just not going to work as well.
Right. So managing our emotions is the key part of creating that relaxed alertness.
Exactly, because when we're feeling overwhelmed, our brains go into fight or flight mode, and that's not conducive to creativity or problem solving.
So how do we do that? How do we manage our emotions in a way that supports relaxed alertness?
Well, one surprisingly powerful tool is what we call asking for love.
Oh, asking for love. That sounds a little out there for a productivity podcast.
I know it might sound strange. But think about it, when we feel loved and supported, our nervous system calms down and we feel safer and more secure.
Okay, I see what you mean. So it's not about being needy or dependent. It's about recognizing that we're not meant to go it alone, and that having strong connections can actually help us to be more resilient and resourceful.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be anything grand. It could be as simple as reaching out to a friend for a quick chat or asking a colleague for help on a project.
Right. It's about building those relationships that make us feel seen and heard and supported.
Exactly. And the other key skill we need to cultivate is creating space.
So are we talking about decluttering our desk and getting rid of all the physical stuff that's weighing us down?
Well, that's definitely part of it, but it's also about creating mental and emotional space. It's about setting boundaries, saying no to things that drain us, and making time for things that nourish us.
That makes sense. So it's about being more intentional with our time and energy.
Exactly, because when we're constantly bombarded with demands and distractions, it's hard to find that inner peace and clarity that we need to be truly productive.
So to wrap things up, if our listeners want to start cultivating this relaxed alertness, what are some practical steps they can take?
Well, I would say start by paying attention to the times when you feel most in the zone. What are the conditions that allow you to get into that state? Is it being in nature? Is it listening to music? Is it being around certain people?
Right, and then see if you can create those conditions more often. Maybe it's scheduling a walk into your daily routine, or making time for a creative hobby, or just being more mindful of the people you surround yourself with.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that true productivity comes not from pushing harder, but from creating the right conditions for our minds and bodies to thrive.
This has been so insightful. Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today.
My pleasure. And to all our listeners out there, I encourage you to experiment with these ideas and see what works for you.
And remember that relaxed alertness is a skill that takes practice. So be patient with yourself and keep exploring until you find what helps you to unlock your full potential on the Future Strong podcast.
Thanks for listening.
We'll see you next time.